What's up, y'all? Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review Bravo's newest show, Dancing Queens. This is season 1, episode 1. So let's get into it. All right, y'all. So I was actually excited when I saw the trailer for this show, and mainly because I am someone that loves competition shows, reality TV, clearly, and documentaries. And this show gave me like toddlers and tiaras. Now, I understand we have all come to the consensus toddlers and tiaras was hella problematic, okay? But when Toddlers and Tiaras came out, I was like in middle school. So I enjoyed watching that show. And this kind of gave me the vibe of that show. Mainly because we get those three aspects I just mentioned. I love competition shows. And in this show, we actually get to see the ladies preparing to go to competitions and actually perform in competitions. The reality TV aspect, it's a lot of personalities. Some of these ladies is already catty and slick at the mouth. And then the documentary aspect, I never knew that there was a pro-am ballroom scene, or there was this relationship between professional dancers and amateur dancers. They don't really explain it, but through context clues, I'm guessing pro means someone who that's all they do. That is their job as a professional dancer. They probably have won a number of awards. But I also like the part about them explaining to us how much everything costs. And then when they put the numbers on the TV screen, I was like, okay, you got me. You got me. Because they said, so I'm going to run the numbers down for you. You end up spending $100 to $250 for pro fees and lessons. Then $3,000 for hotels and flights and competition fees. Then $300 in makeup, $150 in tanning, $250 for jewelry, $1,500 for shoes, and then the dresses that the women wear is between $3,000 to $15,000. And the ladies have already stated that you end up spending six figures, if not more. So they stop looking at their bills. And I said, oh, this is shenanigans, and I'm ready to get into it. Now, I know a lot of people were upset about this show coming out because people felt as though this show took the place of Family Karma. And like I said in my Summer House Martha's Vineyard review, and you should check that out, I'm hoping that show doesn't get Family Karma, but I understand why people are upset. I don't think this show took Family Karma's position, because I think Family Karma normally came on either like Sundays or it came on Fridays, and this comes out on Tuesday. But I understand people being upset that show is no longer here, mainly because like Family Karma was a good show. Even though I really didn't get into it until the end of season 1, the beginning of season 2, I really got into it in season 2. But I like the aspect of Family Karma because it showed people that we don't normally focus on when we think of reality TV. We don't have a lot of Indian shows about reality TV that are reality TV. I think the only other one is the one on Netflix, which is the matchmaking. And the Indian community already let us know online, this ain't it. So, I thought Family Karma was good. So I understand people being frustrated with this show, but I don't think this show took that place or their time slot. So I say give it a chance. So the episode opens up and we meet, I hope I don't mess up, Leonie. She's 42 years old, and we're in New York. She's actually on her way to practice with her the pro part of her team. So with pro-am, there's a pro, which means professional dancer, and then am means amateur dancer. She's the amateur, and her professional dancer or her professional partner, his name is Koister, and they're practicing. We find out that Leonie is she works in finance. I'm not going to lie. When they showed the scene of her working, it felt fake. It felt like that lady was playing in dress up. But I'm hoping that it was just, a bad setup of a scene. But she has a very A-type perfectionist personality. She's the one with the bob. And she's just very But there's pockets of her where you can tell that she likes to have fun. But she's really into ballroom dancing. We meet her husband and her daughter. She says the good parts of her daughter are from her husband, Nigel, and the spicy and a little feisty sides, or the bad side she considers, is from Like it's from her. So her and her husband Nigel, who I think is actually really cute, have a black cat golden retriever type energy. Like you could definitely tell her husband is the golden retriever, happy go lucky, you know, he seems more fun, and she's the black cat. But those types of friendships and even in relationships have been able to stand the test of times, because in that dynamic, opposites genuinely do attract when it's that type of energy. And it seems so with them. At first, when I watched them talk, because I played back the scene, it kind of looked like she was annoyed with him. But then when he tried to like fist bump her, and like, because he was like, you know, you're gonna win, and he tried to give her a high five, she was like, don't do that, because you do that after sex, you try to high five me. She smirked. So I was like, oh, that's how y'all get down. So they seem to be like a normal family. We find out that like she loves ballroom dancing, and the main reason is like when she did martial arts, because I'm not sure if she said she did jujitsu or taekwondo, but she was like, she was so good at it and she was always winning that she got bored of it. And with ballroom dancing, it's just something she just really loves to do, and she doesn't want to give it up. I'll give Leonie credit, because at least she was like, the money I spend is money that we can afford to spend. I'm not just out here shelling out ducats and funds, and we in debt. She like, we got money to spend and I can spend my money. So we fly over to Canada and we meet Sabrina. Sabrina is 44 years old. She is a housewife. She has 2 kids with her husband, 2 daughters. And we meet her husband and we get a little backstory about Miss Sabrina. So we find out Sabrina and her husband met, I guess, in like 2006, 2007, when she was 19 and he was 32. They ended up getting married. And this is how we have Sabrina in her life. Now, when Sabrina was telling this story, I think she thought it was something like, ooh, look at me. And all I could hear in my head is scandalo. I was like, girl, this is scandalous and creepy. Because no, ma'am. No, ma'am. Like, ew. And the thing is like, she didn't really have to, like, she shouldn't have said anything, because when we saw her husband and I saw her, I was like, the age difference doesn't look that like, it doesn't look that big, because if so there's 13 years between them, because let me make sure I did my math right. So 19 minus 32, that's 13. So there's 13 years between them. She's 44. That would make him 57. Like, when you see them together, it makes sense. You're like, okay, this is okay. But to find out that that's the age range when they met, is like, ew. I'm sorry. She should have kept that to herself. But we find out that Sabrina is moving categories. So see, she ends up explaining to us what the categories are. So there are 3 categories in the pro-am ballroom scene. So group A is ages 16 to 35. Group B is ages 36 to 50. And group C is ages 51 to 60. So Sabrina has been dancing in group A for the longest, and mainly because you don't have to leave the groups. I guess maybe you can always dance in them categories, especially if you danced in them before, but now she's deciding to move. She's worried because she's known to be an amazing dancer. Like, her and her dance partner, they take no prisoners. But when you think about like the ages, you start to be like, are y'all really that good of dancers if y'all were dancing with the younger kids? Because I would think you would want to move up where people are on the same footing as you. They're the same age. They might have the same number of years in the game, versus you dancing against people who are a lot younger than you. And this might be like their first real competition. But we meet her dance partner. He's the pro. His name is Stas. Her and Stas have like a strained relationship. Like, they fight like cats and dogs. Like, we saw them during practice, and I was like, ooh, girl. Have a lot going on in that relationship. So we fly over to Arizona and we meet Colette. Colette is 48 years old. She is a business owner of a physical therapy like clinic that mainly is for youth, like young, like kids and young people, and more specifically people with disabilities. We meet her son, Calvin. He's 17. He's extremely tall, and we find out the reason why he's so tall is because he has a genetic disorder that causes him to grow. He also is on the spectrum of autism, but he seems like a really sweet kid. I chuckled when she was trying to get him to eat something, and he said no so quickly. He was like, no. And it was very much like, no, leave me alone, lady. I don't know why that tickled me. We end up finding out she has a zoo in her house. She has 3 dogs, 2 tortoises that live outside, and then 6 cats. I didn't mind the tortoises and I didn't mind the dogs, but it's them 6 cats in her house, and like 2 or 3 of them they showed were on the counters. And then I started thinking about like litter boxes, and I'm like, your house, I hope your house does not smell like ammonia. And even if she got the not the electronic cleaner that cleans, those things cost like at least like $200. And then the gravel or the litter to put in there is costly too. So I'm just like, ew. Well, we see Colette's friend come over. She's dropping off a dress with her, and we start to get some tea. It looks like Colette got dumped by her previous partner. His name was Christian. I think Christian might be dancing with the 2 other ladies that we weren't introduced to on this episode. He might be dancing with one of them. But she's letting us know, yeah, I got partner dumped. We find out that she was at least able to find a partner. His name is Alex, and they're trying to get back into like finding their rhythm with each other. She doesn't really tell us why he dumped her. She don't even really say what the issue was. It just seems, she says that like, I think he was just tired of dancing with me. But I feel like there's more to that story. So we fly back to New York and we meet Donnie. We see Leonie meeting up with Donnie. Donnie and Leonie are friends. Donnie is 43 years old and she's a dancer through and through. She says she dances 5 days a week and she enjoys it. We also find out that she has a dance partner who is a pro dancer. I think his name is Isla. And they've been dance partners for almost like, I think they said like 6 to 8 years. And Leonie was trying to ask Donna, like, what is the secret to y'all's relationship? Because y'all been together longer than most marriages. And Donnie pretty much says, it's like, I keep it professional. She was like, a lot of these girls out here be trying to act like these dudes are their like boyfriends. Like, ooh, let's go to dinner before we do a competition. Let's go to the movies after we do a competition. She's like, I'm paying you to be my partner, not to be my man. If I need a man, I'll get a prostitute. I was like, good Lord, girl. They then start talking about some of the competitors, how like with their outfits, they'll be jeweled certain areas and how certain outfits they won't wear. They bring up one person. They don't say the name, which makes me feel like this person is one of the other ladies that we haven't met yet. But they talk about her, like they talk about this lady, how she bejewels her crotch area. And they were like, yeah. And they also talk about the slut drop. And Leonie gives us a demonstration. And I guess it's basically where you like spin around and you drop and you gaze into your partner's eyes. And she was like, I'm never doing that. So they both were talking about how there's certain things that they will not do in ballroom and how they have partners that respect that. Next scene we see is of Colette on FaceTime with Sabrina. They are not friends. They were trying to be like, yeah, girl, we've been friends. We met at a competition and we just really grew to love each other. Like you can't be friends with people who aren't in this group because they won't, like other people outside won't understand. And I was like, girl, that's not your friend. Colette is a friend of me because Colette was throwing shots at Sabrina while they were on the phone. Sabrina is asking Colette about how she's doing with her relationship with Alex since he's her new partner and how she feels about Christian dumping her. And Colette didn't even really want to talk to her about it. Then Colette is like in the confessional throwing shots because Sabrina on the phone was like, I can't believe I'm about to be on the same dance floor with you and we're going to be competing against each other. And that's where I feel like the frenemy situation is coming up because everyone has said that Sabrina is a beast on the dance floor. And I think Colette might be slightly like annoyed and intimidated that she's now coming over to her side of the pond when she's been dancing with the young kids for so long. So I think that's the issue. Because I was like, Colette, why are you throwing shots at your supposed friend, sis? So then we see a scene with Leonie and her going to a lesson with her pro teammate. And we also meet Karina Smirnoff, who she's done Dancing with the Stars and other notable like balls. But she's a well-known professional dancer. That hour lesson was $280. I said, let me find a job where I can just make $280 for an hour. But in the practice, they were learning how to do the rumba, I think. And Leonie wasn't doing bad, but she's such a perfectionist that she was like really downing herself and doubting her moves. And I like that Karina kept telling her like, no, like you're doing it. I just need you to do a little bit more. And she even told her to stop doing that to herself. Cause she's not like she wasn't doing bad. Like I could see if she kept like tripping over her feet or she was stepping on her partner's feet, but they were doing good. It was just like she was in her head. So we find out that Leonie's not gonna go to the competition that was featured in this episode, which is the Tri-State, which is in Connecticut. And she's on the phone with Donna, and she's like, "Girl, I'm not going." And Donna's like, "Girl, why not?" Is it Donna or Dina? No, I think it's Donna. She's like, "Why not?" And she's like, "Girl, I don't feel it. And I'm already like in my head and I know I'm not going to do well. And if I do bad there, then going forward, I'm not going to have any, any faith in myself with any of the other competitions. And I don't want it to be that way." And Donna was like, "Girl, I understand. I wish you was coming so we could like, see each other, but I understand." So then we fly back to Canada and we see Sabrina and Staj practicing because the competition that they're going to, the Tri-State competition, is almost it's almost time for them to go. I think it said like 3 or 4 days before they leave. They're both frustrated with each other because they keep doing this dance move. And when when he finishes off the dance move, Sabrina ends up, I guess, going too far with her steps. And he's like, "Why are you going so far?" She was like, "Because." And he was like, "You told me to be right here." And he's like, "No, I didn't." So he was like, "Why are you being this way?" Because I guess she's normally a lot more together, but you can tell that Sabrina is nervous about switching groups and about not winning and seeing how much how she compares to the other ladies. So he's like, "Yeah, what are you doing?" And she is getting frustrated. He ends up saying something slick under his breath, but like when I put the captions on and ran it back, I couldn't make out what he said. Like, it didn't seem what he said was, like, so offensive where she got that upset, where she was like, "I'm done." And he was looking at her like, "Calm down, girl. Like, it ain't that deep. I can tell that you're nervous. It's okay." And she responds to him by saying, like, "I need someone who's here to dance with me." And I'm like, "But that's what y'all are doing, Sabrina." What are you talking about? So we then see everyone get ready to go to Connecticut because that's where they're having the Tri-State competition. So we end up seeing Colette pay for like everything. She's paying hotel and flight. And I guess that's a common practice. Like that's what you do. But I know these pro dancers are racking up because you're getting a free trip and a free hotel. And all you got to do is shimmy and shake. Oh, life is made. Life is made. So we then see the ladies who decided to join this competition go get their hair and makeup done by Boyko, who is like a known makeup, like he's one of the top people, I guess, in their industry that does makeup and hair. So Donna and Colette got there. Donna talks about like people will get up at 3 a.m. in the morning, even though the competition doesn't start till like 9 or 10, just to make sure they get their hair and makeup done by Boyko because he's that sought after. So they come in, Donna's getting her makeup done, Colette starts to get her makeup done, and Sabrina comes in being obnoxious, and she has on her hood like Rocky Balboa, and Colette off rip gets annoyed. I said, "Girl, you're a hater." Colette is giving hater energy. Like I said, Sabrina was being obnoxious, but she wasn't really saying anything. She was just running around the room hugging everybody. I was like, "Girl, calm down." I just think Colette feels some type of way that she moved to their category officially now. So they start to explain how they win the categories. So they do 5 dances. They do the cha-cha, they do the samba, they do the rumba, and then they do the paso de Deloy? The boy? The pasta de boy, y'all know what I'm saying. I'll put the thing on the screen. They then do the jive. So they do all 5 dances and they all get scored differently when they dance. But then the added up total score of them dancing is how they win the competition. So they have the highest score overall for dancing all their segments. They end up winning. So we didn't see everybody practicing. Sabrina is like about to cry. Her coach Stas is like, or her dance partner is like, "This is not like you. Like, girl, calm down. And I guess she's just nervous because it's been a long time since it's been a hot minute since she's danced. I think she said like 2 years or so, or maybe a year or so. And I just think she's just working herself up. She's anxious. But in the next episode, we'll actually get to see them dance and compete and see who actually places or wins. So yeah, y'all, that is it. That is all. Remember to be bravely authentic and hop down in them comments below. Deuces.